Hi, everyone. Welcome. Good evening. Thank you for showing up today. I'm Kalisha, a minister and pastoral counselor of Web of Life and Quinn's co-host. Let's first start by acknowledging the traditional lands of the indigenous people who have been living on our lands for thousands of years. We recognize their ongoing connection for our lands and their contribution to our society. We honor their culture, traditions, and elders past, present, and future. Let's also acknowledge what is happening around the world, especially at the time of this recording in Israel and Gaza. Let's just take a moment of silence to acknowledge all of the earth-honoring beings, past, present, and future, that are impacted here, there, and everywhere. Before I turn it over to Quinn, let's take a moment to center ourselves and focus our intentions for this gathering. Let us open our hearts, our minds to the wisdom and a deep sense of gratitude to the guidance that will be shared with us today. May we be inspired, uplifted, and transformed by this experience. May this be a time of healing, growth, and transformation for all of us. Whether you're here live or listening, thank you again for being here and showing up today for yourself and for everyone. Now I will turn it over to Quinn.
So now I'm happy to turn it over to June Arballo. I've known June since 2003, and I am absolutely thrilled that you are closing us out, June. I think you're the perfect person for it. So I will hand it over to you now. And here we go.
All right. Well, thank you. Thank you, Quinn. And thank you, everyone, for showing up for each other, for yourselves as well. We all affect each other, as we know. I remember the first time that I heard about animism, the word animism, was from Quinn, Red Mountain, and Jacob. I think I was visiting them in Tucson, and they said something about like starting this Animist church. And I didn't know what that was. I'd never heard of that. And so I don't know, the more I got to know what it was and what it stood for, it was like, wow, that's just like my own beliefs of how I feel about connecting with the earth. And that's why I've always been so drawn to the indigenous belief systems, not only because I have some indigenous, blood in my own DNA, but also because, the belief system is how I believe, to connect with the earth, that we're connected to everything. Everything is connected to us and responding to us. To listen to the messages. And, one time, we're all connected to an indigenous way of life somewhere in our DNA, no matter where in the world that our DNA is from. At some point in one of our ancestors' lives, they were living on the land. They were looking at the stars. They were looking at the moon, the sun, looking at the signs, looking how the animals move. How do the animals work in their own lives? And I think we've learned a lot from the animals. And, listening to our dreams. But, I think that we're all from indigenous roots. And I think when we come to this work with animism, we're kind of coming into our roots, into our home space. Also connecting to all of our own ancestors, that are still connected to us and responding to us. I always say that we're connected to all of our ancestors. So we want to bring them in, to bring them close, to, like when we make our prayers, bring them in so they could hear what we're what we're talking about, what it is that we're needing in our life. And when our relatives or our parents or aunties or uncles or loved ones make their cycle of life and they move, into the spirit world, they don't say, see you later, have a great life. We're going to go have a reunion with the ancestors, with all our loved ones. But they are going to have a reunion, but they're not going to say, see you later, have a great life. They're going to still try to help us in other ways. They're still going to try to connect with us. So that's why when we have a thought that just like drops into our mind or a feeling about something, it might be that they're like blowing something our way, still trying to help us out. And so it's important for us to bring them close and still learn from them. Even ancestors we've never met. A lot of times we think about our ancestors as my auntie or my mother or father, cousins or, people that we've met in this lifetime. But there's a lot of ancestors that we have not met that are still working with us. And so, a lot of times I feel like, animism has an important role in the world, an important role in our own lives, because we're so drawn to, like shaking a shaker, right? Beating a drum, being around a fire, being with our community, other like-minded people. I feel it's in our DNA. Like no matter who, a lot of people come see me, that are passing through town here in Sedona, and, I might do some readings or ceremony or like little blessing ceremonies, and they might be beating a drum or shaking a shaker. And it's just like, yeah, I know how to do this. It's like, it's in us all. And that's why, I have a fire pit in my backyard. I tell people, if you feel like you can't have a fire where you are and you need to have a fire, you're welcome to come and build yourself a little fire. Make some prayers there in the fire. Because it's important for us to have that in our life. That's how we find our way. I work with the International Council of 13 Indigenous Grandmothers, and I remember Grandma Mona was doing a talk in Phoenix at one time, and she was talking about the fire, that if you feel like you can't find your way, literally or emotionally, spiritually, is what she intended, but she just said, if you can't find your way, go ahead and build a fire. Look at it, see what you see in it, make your prayers in there. It'll help you find your way. And a friend of mine's daughter was at that talk. And one time her mom was driving around and she thought that she might have got lost. And the little girl said, maybe we should stop and build a fire. And I thought that was so neat that she took that on. She remembered that. But I say it is a good for us to have a fire with us now and then. But again, animism it's a way for us to kind of practice all the 101 basics of Indigenous teachings from around the world. I've worked with elders all over the world. And the most basic thing that everybody has in common is that they're working with the air, the water, the fire, the earth. They all believe in these animist ways of thinking where everything is responding to you. Like how Harta earlier was having us do this breath work. to have the breath moving through your organs for healing. That's real. That's not like an imagination. That's using the spirit of the air working through your body. You don't even have to be breathing through your mouth. You breathe through that part of your body. I mean, you are breathing, but you really, it's like your nostrils are in different areas of your body. You can heal yourself that way. And, if the wind's blowing, allow the wind to blow through you and cleanse you. How we work with the earth, indigenous peoples all over the world are working with all these elements. They're not here just to keep us alive, because without the earth, the air, the water, the fire, we wouldn't have life without one of those things. So they're here those are the elements that we were introduced to when we came into the world, beginning with the water in the womb. And those are not here just to keep us alive. Those elements are here to help us throughout our life so that we can be here to help others. There's a reason that we're here on this earth. Our spirit, the things that we bring forward, are bringing something into the world. Just by everyone coming together here today, we're bringing an energy to each other. And the people who listen to this podcast, we're bringing something to them. But we're not just bringing something to each other or the people that hear this. We're making a ripple in the universe, an unspoken energy. Every time we do something, we're putting a ripple out into the universe. Even when we hold a door open for somebody, something as small as that, when we smile at someone, we're here for something. So we're here to bring that energy into the world, even through our own kindness. We did a ceremony over here with the elder from Ecuador. And we had to have a Supai elder and a Huicholi elder here. And we were out by the fire. And this one woman came late. And it was during a prayer of the Ecuadorian elders was doing his prayer. I saw some people get disturbed, that she came late and there was no seat for her. There was nowhere for her to sit. Everyone had a seat. There was no empty seats. And it's like, we can't be upset by that because she's supposed to be there because she's there. The most we could do is offer some kindness. So I went and brought her a chair and welcomed her. Welcome, here's a chair for you. You belong here. And I hope that we can reach out with kindness to others as well. Because that's also expression of ourselves, of our own spirit. Our ancestors, like when we feel them around us, all of our loved ones on the other side, we feel this comfort, like it's just comforting, this like an unconditional love feeling, compassion. Like they want to always lift us up from wherever we are without a judgment. Just like, yes, I want to just lift you up. So I say that they're teaching us how to be with ourselves as well as teaching us how to be with others. And in this way, this reciprocity of helping others and helping ourselves, even just like when you make a prayer, if you're going to make an offering, you might make a prayer with some cornmeal or tobacco or put a food offering out or some water. That's reciprocity. Because you make a prayer, you know that you've received something from this prayer, and you want to give something back in reciprocity. One of the topics that I wanted to talk about in this session is about bringing our visions to fruition. And it's not about like, oh, I better get busy, I better, get on the ball, do what I'm supposed to do. I mean, that might be part of it, but that's the physical part of it. The thing that we have to come to within ourselves is, how serious are we about our spiritual path on this earth? Like I was saying, we're not here for nothing. So it's about looking at our life here as a spirit, walking for this small amount of time. As we get older, it becomes more apparent how short a time we have, right? I think we take it a lot more for granted when we're younger. And as we age, we start thinking, wow, this time, like, I can't start thinking like in a 20-year increments anymore. Like I'll be like, I guess 83 in like 20 years. I better do what I got to do now, what I have to finish up. And it's about our own spiritual path, doing what we're going to do in this lifetime. It's a reciprocity. We are giving of ourselves, but in the same breath, we're receiving. Like, anybody that knows me knows I give a lot of myself. Like when I do, events with the Indigenous elders, like the last month, that's pretty much, I've just been, I helped a Yavapai friend of mine with her daughter's coming of age ceremony. We're cooking over open fires, starting at 3 a.m, helping however we can, just be part of it. And I was pretty sore and tired after like the week, putting up camp, cooking, putting down camp. But it was very rewarding knowing that I supported my friend and her daughter. They take this seriously. Every step. That's one thing that I hope that we understand in our own lives, since we don't have this Indigenous lifestyle, right? From working with the Hopis, the Dene, the Yavapai, the Havasupai, those are the tribes here in the area where I live. And of course, like I say, I've worked a lot with people around the world, is they take every stage of our life seriously. Like this coming of age ceremony, it took a big community to pull this together. They have 2 camps, of the godmother has a camp, the young girl has a camp, and there's like 60 to 70 people like at every camp. The crown dancers come in and bless her, the medicine man. We've been planning this for months. And I think every age that we become is something to take note of. If we just take our life seriously, all the stages of our life, all the accomplishments in our life, we know when we're coming into a cycle or finishing a cycle. If we do a little honoring or a little ceremony or something, some prayers, something honoring our cycles, we get a better grasp of where we're at in our life. It's up to us to take our life here as a spirit seriously. Be here for each other. I love people that pull community together, like Quinn and Harta and other people here, that bring their community together, because we all have to find our people. We're kind of, even if we're kind of recluse, we still like to be around our like-minded people. I think we're kind of, we need that, maybe hardwired for it. And when we don't have our people, we kind of feel lost, like where are our people? I think we're used to being in tribes or groups of people or communities, where we help each other. And so it's about how committed we are to our own spiritual work, how we give it out to the world, to not be shy. Nobody has to be perfect before we offer something to the world. All of us start out in a beginning phase, and then it's the experience that brings us to who we are. The more we do it, the more we evolve from the experience. So it's important to just start doing our work. And, I used to, I grew up in a family of seers, so we were used to talking about spirits in the house, things that don't make sense that happen, or talking about our dreams and believing, the dreams and trying to see what they're saying to us. And I grew up like that. My mom, and all the ghost stories of our family got passed down, through our family. So I know the ghost stories of my mom, my grandma, all her sisters. And some of them were pretty scary. So that's, so I think that I don't like misbehaving spirits. So I think that's one thing that drew me into the work that I do, because I started with clearings, and I felt like always the light is stronger than the dark. And it was from the working with the Indigenous elders that they talked me into doing work for others. And everybody would always say, if you were born with the gift, you're here to share it. You don't keep it to yourself. You're here for a reason, to share your gifts with others. I always say we have like a medicine bag on our side that we carry throughout our life. And once we learn the medicine of something, we put it in our medicine bag. When we meet someone that needs some of that medicine, we pull it out and give them a little bit of that medicine. Sometimes those things come up in ourselves. We can never think we sorted something out in our life, because when it comes up, we're like, I thought I already took care of that, and we push it down. But we have to listen to it, because it came up for a reason, because we're a different person every time something comes up in our life from our past. So we sort it out differently throughout our life. We sort those things out. Sometimes we have to eat our own medicine. But always listen to anything that comes up, and work it out, because we're here to work on ourselves. We're here to peel the layers off, to shine who we are, and to share who we are. So when you're ready to share something about yourself, share a gift, a writing, if you feel that you can do healing. But it's up to each of us to step into who we are. Try some things on some friends if you're trying some new things. When I'm trying something new, that I know I can do it, but I haven't put it on my list of things that I can do. I just have some friends come over, say, let me practice this on you. Tell me what you think honestly. And they're like, gosh, it seems like you already do it, you know. And that's probably a lot of what you might run into as well, because there's some things that we're just supposed to be doing in this world that are, we might have done it in a past life. Like, where did I learn how to read hands? I don't know. All of a sudden I started looking at people's hands. I could read them, the top of the hands. And now I finally just admitted I read hands, but I think it was like a past life thing. I knew when I went to start clearing homes and people, I knew I could do it. I'd never done it. Nobody has shown me how to do it, but there's some things we know that we can do. So I invite you all to take action on those things that you feel you can do. And keep going. You know, I am still building my own, confidence up, and, because I want to do classes, and it takes a lot of work. You know, some of those things that we have to put out take a lot of effort on our part. And we have to have that confidence within ourselves. But if you think you can do it, do it. You know, it's about your commitment to your spiritual path, your commitment to what you're doing here on earth as a spirit, to contribute of yourself, of your own spirit. If you're someone who likes to listen to people, help them in any way, no matter what you do, even an accountant, it's a gift. You know, it's not like everybody has to do spiritual things. Whatever you do, whatever your gift is, do it as a spirit here on earth, doing that gift, contributing to the world. That's another thing. It's like, let's help each other. You know, like no one's going to take anything from you. Like, if you want to do weddings, I can share what I do, you know, in my ceremonies. You might get spur ideas that might help you in your work. And I have so many people come to me saying, wow, you really helped me. Like when I was starting out, you know, it's like, I never feel like anybody's going to take anything from me. We're all helping each other it raises the whole world up. And that's part of taking action as well, is helping others in their own work, sharing what we do that might help them.
Rebecca wrote, I want to heal with food, celebrate birthdays and ceremony, facilitate men's healing, and do space clearings and blessings.
That's great. So thank you, Quinn, for all that you do, all that you've put together in all these years. And it's been a beautiful thing to see your own evolution. And
yeah, you've watched a lot, June. We've watched each other come up.
Yeah.
But what you said about where's my people, that's what started, well, I mean, that's what has fueled me in all of this, is that feeling of where the heck are my people, right? And then the sense came through, if there's not a party, have a party.
Yes.
We're complaining, oh, there's no party where I like the people. Well, then freaking have one, right?
Yeah.
Like call a few people over. So it's that kind of idea. So actually, a lot of this is from that desire.
So we have to just start somewhere. Like a child, when they learn to walk, they have to take that first step sometime, you know. It's not perfect, but eventually, you know, we'll get it down. So we have to be, again, like, be patient and compassionate to ourselves. Our hearts are pure, that we want to help the world through our gifts. And so we try the best that we can, always, for our whole life. will continue to evolve. So we need to have that humbleness about us, in our work, and help, wherever we can.
So, June, is there something, either a blessing or a prayer or words that you would like to say to close that part out? And then Kalisha and I will close out the whole thing.
Okay. I guess I could sing a little song.
Yes, please.
Song blessing us on our way. Little prayer song for us. I always say these songs are not just songs, they're prayers. So allow it to move through you. You wanna hey nay nay, you wanna hey nay nay, you wanna hey no hey nay you wanna hey nay nay, you wanna hey nay nay, you wanna hear no hey nay, you wanna hear no hey nay, you wanna hear no hey nay. For all our relations, Mother Earth and Father Sky, bless us on our way. You wanna hey nay nay, you wanna hey nay nay, you wanna hear no hey nay. Blessings to each and every one of you. Thank you for being here today and allowing me to share my words and my spirit with you as well. Thank you. You all affect me as well.
Thank you so much, June. So to close our circle, this is the last one of this adventure together, this summit. And I wrote down a few thank yous. So thanks first, and I do need to say this first because it wouldn't happen if it didn't happen. Thank you, Kalisha, for prompting me. And may it be a message to everyone. You don't know what your ideas are like. Hey, I had this idea, like I just had a thought. You don't know what will come of it if you speak it or admit it to yourself or share it with somebody else. This is happening because Kalisha inspired me to do it, and she said she'd help. That was the clincher. You'll help? Otherwise, I would have thought, nah, too much work. Okay? So starting there, and also for co-hosting. Thank you to all the presenters, the ministers who are presenters in the live sessions, the podcasts. So I did multiple interviews with different ministers, and bits of those audios are being dripped out in podcasts. And since there's going to continue to be podcasts of various kinds, some of those parts that haven't been used yet, because there's quite a few ministers, will be dripped out over time. Also, the intro videos. I'm so inspired by all of you who create short form video, and I really encourage you to keep doing that, please, because it is powerful. All who have shown up live and watched and listened to the recordings and offered your shares and asked questions, all who offered donations for the summit, for the helpers, to me specifically, Shelley for monitoring the chat and putting up the links. Thank you. Also Rebecca. So thanks to everyone. I look forward to more. Kalisha, you're going to take us out. What would you like to say?
Well, thank you all for your presence and participation. And thank you all also for being a part of this, because we are all a part of this together. Like, we putting on the summit was, you're part of that. Like, we're all equal in this, and it's not just me and Quinn putting this together. This is all of us doing this and sharing our gifts. And just loved how this all just kind of wrapped up with us doing some action and making connections and talking about collaborating. I'm going to read a quote really quick. This is from a book called Circle of Stones that I learned about in a lot of the women's circles. I'm going to replace the word women with animist because I think it still applies. So it says, how might your life have been different if there had been a place for you to go, a place of animist, to help you learn the ways of animist, a place where you were nurtured from an ancient flow, sustaining you and steadying you as you sought to become yourself, a place of animist to help you find and trust the ancient flow already there within yourself, waiting to be released, a place of animist. How might your life be different? So I just want to say those final words to leave you with, and also to say, now go forth and share your gifts. Thank you, everyone.
Indeed. And for anyone who has not noticed or listened to the podcasts, I am putting out the fourth, which has the most voices, trying to squeeze a lot of voices into an hour. But tomorrow, the fourth one comes out. So there's just so much variety and heartfelt shares in those pieces. And so thank you all so much for sharing your voices.
And before you end, I want to interject as we have discussed, and I want to say to Quinn, thank you for many years ago listening to the path of yes and aligning with that path of yes and letting it grow at a beautiful pace. And here we are now, so long after you created the church, and we have this beautiful summit, and I just appreciate you. And look what you've done. Look what you've done.
So far, so far,
Love you.
there's more to do. But this has been a fabulous and meaningful reflection of the last 9 years and 15 years of being a church. And some of you have been around that long, plus longer. And so, yeah. Thank you all so much. I look forward to more, is what I like saying, because we're not done. More. There's more that wants to happen. So many blessings to all. Take good care of yourselves. As I'm starting to say nowadays, you are needed here. So take care, please, because we have things, sacred things to do together and by ourselves. Many blessings. Have a great night. Bye-bye. Thank you, Harta and June, tonight.
Thank you, Quinn.
Thank you. Good night.
Thank
Night.
you, everyone. Good night.
Good night.
Good night.
Bye.
Goodbye, my friends.
Good night.
Good night.